One. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Global Party 2017, Healing from the Inside Out. And I am with Janet Groom in Switzerland, originally born in Ireland. She is the founder of Happy Minds Academy. She's a transformational coach. We're going to talk about transforming your life with one thought. One thought. Yay. And when I asked Janet what would be the song that inspires her, what do you think it was? Happy! So get ready, and we're going to play a little bit of it. Thank you, Farrah Williams, for letting us do this.
Hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Yay! I'll just keep dancing through your presentation.
Hey, you can do that. That's no problem. Well, thank you so much for asking me to join you today. I have been watching some of the other talks. It's amazing what you're doing. Absolutely amazing. Amazing.
We're all doing it together, so it's a great big team event. So thank you for being here, and I'm so looking forward to you sharing with everybody about your transformation and how you help others transform.
Yay, absolutely, absolutely. One thing I'm going to just point out, there was a line in that song which I think is really important, and it's about clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. So that's a little start to get people thinking happiness is the truth. And I totally believe that. Yay.
We'll just sit here and smile and be happy.
I feel happy. Exactly. Exactly. I am very happy. I've been out for a walk already, so I'm happy. Yay.
Where did you weren't always happy?
No. I have made a complete shift in my life. My transformation journey really triggered 9 years ago. We had been living in America, and through the financial crisis, we found ourselves en route to Switzerland with my husband's career. And it was at that point I really had a bit of a meltdown. We're used to expat life because we have lived in a few other countries, but this was the most challenging one for me because we had plans when we were planning to leave the States, and we were returning to the UK, back to our lives in London, to our friends and family and what we knew. And as part of that, we'd also planned to look at adoption to grow our family, because unfortunately, I went through the menopause as a teenager. So I had puberty and menopause. Woohoo! All rolled into one. Yay! And that unfortunately caused then, we had been trying for a family and had thought, no, when we go back to the UK, we're in a good position. We can look at adoption, which is what we had thought, grow our family. And, our path, in my mind, our path was clear. I was happy where everything was going. And then the world changes. And the universe sends you in a different direction. It goes, no, actually, we're going to send you there. And at the time, it really, really was very difficult. We arrived in a new country. Because of my certain health issues, I then had to go through the whole thing of finding a whole new doctor. And of course, they don't understand. Oh, it was just, and in a different language. And I was just so negative about being here. And I was lucky I found a job, but I ended up with a boss who just did not want me there and made my life very difficult. And one day I woke up and I just did not want to get out of bed. I'd reached the point where I just basically shut down. It was a very dark, very difficult place. I would, unless you've been there, it's very hard to describe it. And I really hope our viewers will never, ever be in that position, because it's not a nice place to be. And I realized that I had been surviving, just literally coping with life, just getting through the daily routine, the daily grind, and not living, not survive, or, growing and developing, and certainly not happy. It was just survival mode. And what triggered then a series of events. I then spoke to different people about dealing with, they sort of said, oh, it's depression and you need blah, blah. And I ended up seeing people that just kept going over the same story, just dragging me through this hell, living hell, basically, over and over and over again. And it was actually not helping at all. Because in my mind, every day I was doing that.
Yeah. And then
Exactly. And it was just that same story, nothing more than that same story. And then I was really lucky. I was referred to a lady at one of the hospitals here in Zurich. And the first thing she sat me down, she says, okay, she said, right, we know what's happened. Okay, what's your future plans? And I just sat and looked at her blankly, because I didn't feel I had a future. I didn't feel that there was a tomorrow. I didn't feel that I could get off this hamster wheel of just constantly going through the same depressive state. And this sort of made me sit up and go, what? Really? What do you mean plans? When she said, well, you're a young woman, you've still got, possibilities. Now, I have to say, we were too old. Unfortunately, in Zurich or Switzerland, we were too old to look at fertility treatment. Mm-hmm. And with neither of us being Swiss, we couldn't actually adopt either. But what she made me realize was that I still had a life. I still was a person. I still deserved to have something. I still deserved to have plans for a happy life and a happy future. And that started my journey to realize, okay, step by step, building up an idea of how I could shift and move forward and see that I had and deserved to have a future, a happy future. And through that, then I started learning about different healing techniques, alternative therapies. And from that journey, I have become an NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, a hypnosis practitioner, energy healer, and I also did a life coach certification. So those were all for me to grow,
right,
and develop and learn. And I started on this journey, and it was just so exciting and so different, so alien to what my previous scenario was. And certainly now, meeting you, Jacqueline, and meeting and listening to these talks, it's just a completely different world.
It is a completely different world when we open up to it. And I think you did a very good example of when you were going over the same story with people, right? And that's generally the old paradigm of helping is we'll just keep talking about, we'll keep, somehow, even the past, we keep studying at school, the past, and somehow that's going to give us the answer to the future. Einstein said you can't solve today's problems with the same mind that created them. So the person that said, what's your vision, opened the door to you. It's like door A, possibility, or door to hell.
And as I was living that hell for a long time, it was time to try that door to the unbelievable possibilities. And that definitely started me on my journey to this growing, this different mindset, this understanding, this starting to understand about living in the heart space and tuning in. And it has made a huge, huge difference. I mean, for an example is, and this is where it can change with just one thought. Last year, this is a little story for you.
Before you tell the story, just say hello to Noma Nono. She's saying hello, Jacqueline.
Hello.
Hello, Noma Nono, just so you know we know.
Happy.
Okay, back to
because I'm a storyteller. Okay, so last year I'd been on a lovely trip to Germany, come back, and something had stung me in my thigh. And I kind of went, oh, it's a bit irritating. Oh, okay. And a few days later, it actually was getting worse. And even though I treated it with cream and different things, it was, not getting any better. A week later, and I was walking into the emergency room at the hospital here. And I wandered in and I did all the documentation and they put me into a nice little cubicle and I sat and waited patiently. And the doctor came in and, I think she just thought it was going to be just, routine, just had turned a little infected or whatever. And she took one look and I just saw her face drop. And I thought, oh, that's not good. Right. Because it actually had become quite swollen and actually was turning black. So, sorry, not for anyone with a faint-hearted here. I'm not going to go into too many details, but what subsequently happened was in the next matter of minutes, I had a surgeon sitting talking to me and an anaesthetist, and it was like I was being rushed in for an operation. And I'm sitting there going, okay, this is not what I expected. And they said, because I was there on my own, and bearing in mind, this is all in German, which I have to say, luckily I can just about cope with. And I'm sitting there going, okay, right, okay. And then I said, we can't knock you out for the operation. We have to give you an epidural to keep you awake. And I thought, okay, that's a bit strange, but maybe I can watch because I'm a bit like that. And they went, okay. And I said, then why do I need to be awake? And they said, well, just in case it turns a bit bad, it's quite a severe infection. It could have spread. We might have to amputate your leg. And this is, for anyone who knows me, this is one of my absolute fears of losing a limb. I mean, it really is something that has freaked me ever since a child. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a bit surreal. That's a bit hard to deal with. They're dealing with all this as this is all going on, and they give me the epidural and prep me for the operation. And meanwhile, I very quickly called my husband to say, actually, I'm going in for an operation. Can you come to the hospital? And he was quite shocked because he just thought it was an insect bite, Right. Yeah. And then I was in the operating theatre and they put a little curtain up. So I'm saying to the anaesthetist, I can't see. And he goes, yeah, it's okay. He said, they don't want you to see. And I said, oh, but I'd be quite interested to see. And he said, no, I'll tell you what's going on. Okay. And he was lovely. He was a really, really lovely man. And every so often he would have a little look over this little curtain in front of me and he'd go, thumbs up, it's all okay. And then at one stage he looked over the curtain and he looked back at me and he goes, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not good. That's not good. And he said, oh, they've pulled a 7-foot snake out of your leg. I mean, he had such a lovely sense of humour. And just before I went in for the operation, I actually had to make a decision in my head. I thought, right, Janet, this is your worst fear. You've got two choices. You can either completely fall apart, or you can just say, I'll deal with whatever. And the universe has my back. Right. And I chose that option. And it literally was that one thought that made the huge difference, because I'm in the operating theatre and I'm making jokes with the anaesthetist. And then even after the operation up on the ward, the nurses were lovely and they just went, oh, you've such a lovely, you're dealing with this so well. And there was a couple of other things that happened. And they kept saying, but you're very optimistic. You're very, And even my husband went, I can't believe how well you're dealing with this. And I really, really do believe by making that choice, that decision, that thought, and, really going with whatever the universe, the source had in mind for me,
right,
it really meant that I freed myself up to say, well, I will just deal with whatever, because I don't know what's going to come. Right. And I have to say, the healing, because I have to say they did take rather a large chunk of my leg, and the healing process, they couldn't believe how well it healed. And now I am more or less back to normal. I've just been out for a 3-hour hike this morning, and at one stage when I'm like thinking I'm going to lose my leg here now, okay, Janet, what can you do if you've only I could become, because I live in the Swiss Alps, I ski in the winter, and I thought, I could become a Paralympic skier.
There you go.
Maybe not for Switzerland, but maybe for Ireland. And there's all these things of going like, okay, if that happens, I can deal with this. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, it didn't end up being as awful as it could have been, but it certainly was a shock. Mm-hmm. And certainly using my knowledge to be able to make that decision, I really, really believe that one thought made all the difference and has continued to make the difference in my life. So every time I remind myself of that story and go, you know what, Janet, you can do this. I can and I will.
I like that. I can and I will. It sounds so much more powerful than anything else, really. I can and I will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So sometimes when I'm like standing and I'm thinking, oh, this is a bit scary, I go, nope, come on, Janet. I can and I will. That's my little mantra to myself. So anyone out there can share my mantra, because, and it does, being that empowered and making those decisions it really does make you feel so much happier, because you feel, you've done what you can and you're moving forward into a more positive space.
Yeah. We can only control what we receive in the thoughts and how we act on them, really, because we have no control over any other individual, right? Nope. And when we get into the presence of how energy works and the intention behind it, like scientists know now that if you have an intention for the experiment to work, it usually works in the direction that you want it to. Where if the other scientist has the intention that it isn't going to work, it usually works that way. So really, science is proving what you are thinking about is bringing about your reality. Your DNA is shifting pertaining to how you perceive in your beliefs. So just think about stress and you already start to feel your body contract, right? You think about us dancing and being happy, right? There's a whole opening. So your choice of saying, I can and I will it's like everything's working in your favor.
Exactly. It is about really, accepting the scenario that you're in. And as you're right, is the one thing that you personally control is your thoughts, your reaction, and it might even be your action, right, rather than reaction. That's what you can control. You're right. You can't control what was going to happen in so many aspects of life. But what we can control is how we feel about how we react, how we act upon these things. And that I firmly believe really makes a difference, that shift. And so often with my clients, that is the number one thing I work on, is mindset shift in their beliefs. Changing that belief from somewhere that's negative, that's not helping them, that limiting belief, because it's holding them and keeping them small, to sort of like, come on, we're going to break this up, like a rock, break it up. We're going to get rid of it, shatter it, and create a more positive mindset, a more positive belief that will really enable them to step into their power, to make it easier to make these choices, these thoughts that make the difference, and be happier. Because I like happy a lot.
And I mean, if anybody wants to jumpstart their day with happy, you can join Janet's Happy Minds Tribe. Happy Minds Tribe.
And why not listen to my podcast as well? Yay!
Yes, Happy Minds. I was just going to say about your little Snapchats and your faces. Okay, they will brighten your day. Okay, it's just, she is. I mean, I can't even imagine how you were in the past, because I only know you as being happy and open to stepping forward. Now, I got to ask you, do you think any of this sort of conditioning came from growing up in Ireland and knowing that there's stress between the Protestants and the Catholics? So it's sort of like you embody that?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Northern Ireland in the 70s at the height of what was known as the Troubles. And I mean, what was difficult for me was as a child, you didn't really understand things, and you had this pressure being put on you. You saw that you were being told not to trust certain people. You know, you had to, even there was words like you had to hate certain people because of their belief system, their faith. And that never sat well with me. And I have to say my family wasn't like that. It was coming from elsewhere in the community and from other people. And it was really amazing to sort of define that you grew up in this environment where you learned about there was hate, this hatred, this distrust of people. You couldn't trust people. You were afraid. I mean, I was being in scenarios where bombs have gone off. You know, I've known people whose fathers were shot. You know, it was really horrendous. But it was a war situation I grew up in. And it was only when I left at 2021, and I actually packed my bags and I went to Australia for 6 months. I mean, I went as far away as I could. My parents thought they would never see me again. And it's only when I really stepped away out of that scenario that I realized, actually, that's not how life is not meant to be. And in fact, there was another little funny story that in Australia, I was going into a mall, mm-hmm. and into a shop. And as I went into the shop, there was a security guard, and I opened my bag and stuck it under his nose. And he kind of looked at me as if to say, why was I doing that? But this is actually what we used to do in Northern Ireland. When you went into a shop, there was a security guard. He would check your bag to make sure you didn't have a bomb when you walked into the shop. So this security guy was like, what on earth is this girl doing? Opening this bag and sticking it under his nose, and then like kind of looking, is it okay for me to go in? Right. And he's like, what? And then my friend who was with me went, oh, no, you're okay. Come on in. And I was like, oh, okay, you don't do that here. Oh, okay. And it really showed the mindset we had. We have very negative distrust. It was not a good environment to grow up in. And yes, I do believe that a lot of that mindset held me back. And I have to say, maybe that's why now I live up a Swiss mountain, that I'm far away from everybody. So I can kind of nurture my positive mindset. But yeah, really, really huge difference. I'm pleased to say things have changed significantly now. Still undercurrents of not nice people on both sides or whatever, but yeah, not a happy childhood in that regard. Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask, because this is still sort of prevalent in other countries, right? That, this stress is still going on. And I think a lot of people in the Western world, since they haven't experienced anything since World War II, they sort of kind of go, it's happening over there, and they're unaware of the ramifications and how it affects people. And this is the part as you are healing, you're healing in a sense, as we were talking to Bridget about, she does as a shamanic healer, it's generational healing, right? So there's this part of the, as you're doing your healing, you're healing the generations past and the generations future, and each of us are. And I think that's the significant thing about us coming together. As we each work on ourselves, we're actually affecting the whole. And there's many big global issues that we're actually tackling by dealing with our own issues.
And that's the thing. I mean, for me, I am someone, I love people. I don't care color, creed, faith, whatever. If you're a loving, kind, good-hearted person, that's what shines through. And that's why, for me, I needed to get out of that scenario, that environment, because it wasn't healthy for me. And I knew that from an early age. And now I have met people all over the world because of my travels. And I've met the most amazing people. And I don't care, if you've got, green spots and purple stripes. If if you're just a wonderful person, that comes through. And this is what we've got to learn, is that we need to look at people as a whole, not be pigeonholing people into these groups and labeling everybody in the same way, because that's not, we're all unique, we're all special, we're all individual. Yes. And it's a person. It's not the labels.
No, I'm just reminded of, when we talk about the diversity, is I used to live outside of Toronto. So I grew up watching Toronto be totally diversified. But when I recently left there a few years ago, I was in Richmond Hill, about an hour north, and I had like an Iranian family on the top floor and a Moldovan family on the bottom floor in the house beside us. I had a Japanese across the street and an Italian on the side. I had Chinese students that were living with us that from international. And it was the only place that you could go where people would ask me, so where are you from? And I'd be like, I'm actually Canadian. I know it's hard to believe. Second generation I've been here, right? But it is the sense that Canada is very much a melting pot for the whole world, right? That we have this representation. So when I left there and we got guided to come east to Eastern Canada, which we had never expected, it becomes whiter and whiter and whiter to the point where my daughters and I were actually having reverse discrimination thing, like it was like, it was like detoxing, in the sense. And I remember we'd been gone for about 10 days and it was just like, wait. And finally I saw a Black family and I actually had to go up and just embrace them and say, oh, it's so lovely to see you, because I'm used to appreciating all the differences and the coloring, the textures, the fabrics, the music. We are a global planet, and the beauty is in appreciating each of us as being different. And I love that, and this is why I'm so glad we're all together here.
Well, exactly. I mean, we shouldn't be building walls. We should be, you saw I put a little post up about sort of, a bridge of light, of love, creating this bridge of light in the world. That's what we need. We need bridges, bringing people together, not driving us apart. And, we really, this is why this global party, is amazing, because you've got people from all over the world and we all have the same mission, the same purpose, to bring light and love and energy to this world and bring people together. And it's healing the world.
Yeah. Yeah, because we are in it and it is in us, and this wonderful co-creative community that we're all sharing. It is a fabulous of how everybody is different but yet the same. The heart is so connected. So you've got your podcasts, Happy Minds podcasts that people can, just listen 20 minutes and grab a cup of coffee or cup of tea, right?
Yes. It's just I keep them short, and I just, whatever is in my mind for that week, I just, talk about it and get you to start thinking. But it's just quite short, between 7 to 15 minutes is the longest one. Just that little thought of, for the week. So yeah, you can check that out. That's on my website. You can check that out.
And the website address is?
It is on www.janetgroom.com.
It's pretty straightforward. That works.
That is.
And when it comes to working with clients and transformation, is there a particular segment of transformation, or are you just a stand for whatever that person needs? You're that vessel to help them transform?
Pretty much at the moment, I've been working one-to-one with clients, and I just support and guide people through that process. Everyone's unique. Everybody has a different journey they're on. Mm-hmm. But often I find the key thing for most people is it's the limiting beliefs that they have created, these stories they tell themselves that are holding them back. So it's helping to shift those, or let's say completely obliterate the negative ones, right, and create more positive ones that allow them to really grow and develop into the person that they are. They're powerful. We're all greatness. We all are enough. It's realizing that. So yeah, it's a wonderful journey that I feel very privileged to share with my clients. And I have a group program coming up as well. So it'd be kind of nice to have a group of people in a 6-week program working through that together.
Lovely. Okay. So you got that at janetgroom.com, and stay happy.
Happy.
Happy. Janet and I have an extra special connection. We met through a mastermind group, and she's my buddy. Okay, so she's been a real support to me to say, yes, go for it. You can do this. And in that sense, because of her support and encouragement, I did step forward and trust. And look, we're all here now sharing in everybody's happiness.
And I have to say, Jacqueline, you absolutely, every time I keep saying this, you amaze me, you amaze me, you amaze me. And here you are, absolutely amazing me again. You're a great inspiration. And I love it.
I love you. Thank you for being here. Mwah.
Well, all the very best with the rest of the party.
Okay.
Rock it on, girl.